fight. Many of us done some things to the glory of God, but because we stop doing those things, we lack the ability to keep doing it. That means, see, everyone that you see today that looks like a perfect, how would I put it out? Perfect worker of spiritual gifts, any form of spiritual gifts, prophecy, word of knowledge, and everything. They were just men who continued in doing what they were doing in the first place. If you ask many people, for instance, if you ask many people who flow so ceaselessly in the gift of knowledge, they will tell you when they started, it was not 100%. But because they just continued, and today it makes them look like they are masters of it. Those people who were into the gift of healing and miracles, when they first started, it was like they did not look at the story whereby they brought some guys who were demon possessed to the disciples of Jesus, and they could not cast him out. Just had to rebuke them and just cast it out. That would have been enough for them not to do it again. But they went back in Luke chapter 10 to cast out same devils. Why? Because if you stop doing something, even though that thing is in you, it will look as though it's not there. So, do not neglect the gift that is in you by the laying on of the hand. Now, look at the next verse. Come here. So the next verse, chapter 4. So the next verse says, verse 15, what does it say? It says, rather what? Meditate on these things. Give yourself entirely to them. Meditate on these things. In other words, the word give yourself wholly, as used in the old KJV, is the word, let me get it. In the Greek, is the word ishi, which means to throw yourself upon something, to give all what you have to that thing. So what Paul was telling Timothy, he said, guy, that has been given to you by the laying of hands, you have to put your all into it. You have to put your all into it. And one of the things that is a danger to us in this day and age is lack of focus. Many of us we can't maintain focus for just 3 months without getting distracted. We can't just maintain focus. Now, one of the way you know whether focus, all those your Udemy courses that you paid for, that when you wanted to start, you were like, yes, I need to do this course. You go to the middle and you stop. You saw another one. You paid for it again. You must learn the power of what? Focus. Because the truth of the matter is, what that is happening in that area of your life is what is also filtering to every other areas of your life. The ability not to be able to stay true to a cause to the end. If you see it manifesting in your other areas of your life, your career, your academics, and other areas of your life, there is no way you will not also see those symptoms also in your spiritual life. Many of you say, I want to study the book of Ephesians today. You started from chapter 1, chapter 2. Then you open your WhatsApp, you saw somebody start off. So you saw a pastor preaching from Philippians. It's as if this chapter is very good. You drop the Ephesians. You start a study on Philippians. As you start that study on Philippians, somebody asks you a question. What do you think about this particular verse? You say, you know what? Let me go and study it. You drop those first two. There's no way you can build yourself like that. So you must not, if you are scattered everywhere, you make no impact. You must be thoroughly focused on that which you are doing. If it's that throughout this month, look at the way we've been discussing the book of John since last year, even though we've looked at several other passages of the scripture to corroborate what John is saying one way or the other, it makes our understanding of John to be richer and fuller because we always go back to it to understand it better. That's how you grow as a Christian. You must learn the ability to focus. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. You must have the ability to be focused. We live in a world of internet and everywhere whereby somebody can belong to 5 churches on one Sunday. He can attend 5 services on one Sunday plus his own church. So, which means this, see, the greatest, one of the most problematic church Paul had is the Corinthian church. And we all know the story of the Corinthian church, whereby some of them were just unruly. It was in that church that a man was sleeping with his father's wife, necessarily not his mother. I want to believe that. If it was that would have been more heinous. And the reason why they had that issue at church was because of multiple influences. And these multiple influences were not ungodly influences. They were godly influences, because Paul was one that started that church. One way or the other, that church had people like Apollos come into play. That people had people like come into play. That church even had Barnabas came into that church, to have a lot of influence over that place. The danger that happened with it was that nobody. So that brought division in their midst, whereby some say, see, guy, if Paul is, they'll say, see, Paul, I am of Apollos. If Apollos is talking, some will say, if Peter is talking, some will say, I'm of Paul, I'm of Apollos. It's even interesting that some even said that I'm of Jesus. Why? Because they see, when you are accountable to somebody, it will show in your conduct. And that's what happened to that church particularly. So it was not that they had ungodly influence. I think Paul has to tell them, say, guy, I have the authority to tell you guys the truth. Because all of you guys, I got you guys born again. All of you, I got you born again. I have the full authority to tell you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And by the side, if you look at a church whereby under 10 years they've had, it will always show in the growth of the members. They don't grow right. Why? Because it takes focus for you to grow. So come first 2 years and tell you, guy, righteousness is a gift of faith from Christ, blah 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 blah. Another person comes after you are just understanding righteousness is a gift, and they transfer another pastor to that church, and that one comes and says, see, guy, you have to work for your righteousness. So you went 2 steps forward, they brought someone else who brought you back 4 steps backward, and as God will have it, that one will not stay longer. And by that one is done, they do not bring another one who will not come and tell you, say, nobody can succeed as a new creation if they did not go for deliverance in their father's house. Then you start another round. So your own Christian life is zigzag. You can't really point to that this is what I really believe. And so many people, Christian life are like that. They've listened to so many people. They've listened to so many people with diverse persuasion and conviction. It's not bad though. They've listened to so many people with diverse persuasion, and conviction. This one will believe A, this one will believe B, this one will believe C. See, your brain is too small. It cannot handle so many contradictions at the same time. Are you here with me? It cannot handle so many contradictions at the same time. One pastor will tell you, oh, you are saved by Jesus' blood, by what he did, by the sacrifice. Another one will tell you, oh, there are 20 ways for you to be saved. Your brain cannot handle that. So you must be focused that this is what I've had and this is what I'm growing. Let's see the next statement Paul told Timothy. He said, when you give yourself entirely to them, what happens next? Okay. No, in verse 15. That your progress may be what? Evident to all. So, the reason why people's progress are not being, listen, let me tell you something. Spiritual growth is not a private affair. In other words, spiritual growth is not what only you know. People should be able to say, you that I met last year is not the same you that I'm meeting this year. You've grown. So we should be able to see spiritual growth by people. People should be able to say that, yes, you have grown. Are you there with me? They should be able to point to it that if this thing happened to you last year, you'll have gotten angry. Now that you are not getting angry, it's a proof that you have what? You've grown. So spiritual growth is not something that you can hide. It's something that you will know. Husband will know that the wife is growing spiritually. Friends will know that you are growing spiritually. So spiritual growth is not hidden. All those things that people themselves, it is only me know that I'm serving God. I don't care whether you know. It's because they're not growing. Are you here with me? Spiritual growth, people will see something has changed about this person. Something has just changed about this person. There's a limit to the growth which the person is doing. Now let me give you an instance. Maybe last year you were serious with God, and you were just praying to God. You just do your normal devotion. Then this year you decide to say that, you know what, I will be more focused on my prayer life, whereby every 6 hours at least I'll pray for 30 minutes. So 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m., 12 a.m. I will devote 30 minutes each of those in those 6-hour clock. Then maybe by 6 p.m. you were with your friends. And meanwhile, you've been following that routine for over a period of time. And you are just with your friends by that 6 p.m. You know what spiritual growth does? Spiritual growth will tell you that, you know what, you can still come back to that discussion and to go and honor your 30 minutes time with God. Initially, your friends will tell you, are we not all Christians together? You can go and pray what? You can go and pray later. But spiritual growth will let you know that it's not all of you that made that resolution. It is you that made that what? Resolution. Then, after a period of time, your friends will now know. Once it's 5:59 p.m., you are going right. Why? They've already known that character to you. That's growth. So, in your spiritual growth, you just go that, okay, the things I could not do last year, I'm able to do this year. Then you take it further and further. And God has decided that the believer should always grow. If your spiritual life is the same as at last year, you are not growing. There should be something that must have changed. Your prayer life, your study life, something must have changed in your spiritual life. Great. So I'm saying this because Paul said that it is when you give yourself entirely to them, or when you are focused on that thing, that your progress will be seen to all. So the reason why your progress is not seen to all is because you are too distracted with so many things. The moment you are focused on something, then you will know, people will know that, I know, something has changed. And when I mean people, I don't even mean unbelievers now. I mean even fellow believers will tell you that you've grown. Something has changed about your manner of life. So when you are focused, somebody used to share a nugget. He said, when you focus on something, that thing will become your focus. In other words, what you focus on, eventually you become that thing. So the more I focus on these things, the more my progress will be seen to all. The more I focus on what I've received, I can now receive word from people. Then I put it to practice that every blessed day I must give somebody a word from God, either by phone call or by meeting one-on-one. Just somebody. What are you doing? You are giving yourself fully to that gift. Then it's just a matter of time that you find yourself that progress will be seen by all. But if you are waiting for the next program we have to do it, then you will now discover that you actually start as though you never had it before. Are you getting me? So it is in my continuing in doing them that I will actually grow in that thing. Look at the next verse 16. He said, take heed to yourself and to the doctrine, continue in them. Paul did not say, put a pause. You have to continue in what you've had. You have to continue in what you have received. Continue, 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 continue. Don't overcompensate. You have to continue in them. You have to continue in them. You know, as we finished on that Sunday, I was so heavily tired. And, you know, got back home in the evening, wanted to rest. And I just, and I have a culture. Every 2 days I finish one book in the Bible. Every 2 days. And sometimes if the book is short, I finish it that same day. And this minus other things I do, for my spiritual stuff. So I picked up, I was studying the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. So I got to verse 3. I was already dozing off. There's one thing you are reading. You are reading it, but you are not reading it. You are reading it, but you are not reading it. Then I said, well, it's a good excuse, from, I've had a long fast from the Monday till that Saturday. And till that Sunday, I'm so extremely tired. So I convinced myself, there's a way that you convince yourself that what you're about to do is the right thing. You tell yourself, yeah, if you sleep, it's not that bad. Should be somebody that is alive that can read the Bible. You talk yourself out of that thing. And as though God was looking at me and just saying, we'll see. I look for sleep for 2 hours. Sleep did not come anywhere. And I said, I got it. I had to stand up, walk, face around, and carry the Bible. And for the next one hour, start reading. When I even go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, it's not up to 10 minutes. Sleep came. I said, okay, I get it. But thank God, God was merciful. If not because he withdrew sleep, I would have slept, convincing myself that I cannot do it. Was I not the same person that still read it and slept? So, which means that, you can convince yourself that we've prayed throughout last week Saturday. We've studied inside bank for the next 7 days. Nobody should disturb me. You convince yourself that what you're about to do is the right thing. What God told me one time? He said, do you know that it is Christians that go on break? Satan never go on vacation. It is we that take vacation. Satan has never went on vacation for one time. Actually, Satan is looking for one time that the believer will be on break. It did to Jesus. Because after he left Jesus, he left Jesus looking for another time. Another opportune time. That's how it works. It is you that you think that if I take break, then Satan too is also taking break. No, it's actually waiting for you to take that break so that it will bring that temptation and you now, you know what killed David? When his mates were fighting, they said, you know what, I started my life killing people. I first killed animals. When I did not have anything, I killed animal, I killed lion, I killed bear. Then I went, I killed Goliath. So I've been killing has been my lifestyle. So one time that I should just take a rest, I don't think God will be angry. But you know what Satan did? That one time that he took a rest was enough to finish him. That's when he saw Bathsheba. And that was the end. So Satan is just waiting for one time whereby you just tune off. That's it. Some people, for instance, some people will say, when I go on vacation, then when they say they'll go on vacation, people sometimes mean that I'm also vacating. I'm going on vacation from everything that has to do with God. So things that they could not do normally without vacation, they now believe vacation is the time for them to do what? To do it. That's why so many people's spiritual life took a downtime during their period of vacation, because they did things that normally they should not have done. And Satan used that as a loophole to just enter into them. For some, it's their wedding. It's their wedding. They're like, this one day is just for me. One sister once said that to me. When I saw what she planned to do during our wedding. I don't need to tell you the details of it. I said, are you still the same sister that we know? He said, sir, this one day is for me. I said, okay, are you implying that by you saying this one day is for you, God is not in that one day? He said, no, God has been having every other day. But you see, this one day is that day that is for me. Okay. And that's why you see two serious Christians getting married, and you wonder, why are we here? What are we doing in this place? You know, you will have wished that you were never there. Why? Because it's that mentality that just that one time. You know, there was a time a brother was sharing with me. He was about to get married. So he said they were to do, what do you call this? Is it bachelor eve? Okay. So bachelor eve. So I don't I had over his conversation. So I said, I would like to come around. He said, no, sir, you don't need to come. He said we don't need to stress. I said, don't worry. I said, because I may not be around really for the wedding, but let's come, let's pray. He said, no, you don't need to come. So I did not really click, because then I asked one of his friends, are you going? He said, no, I'm not invited. I said, so who is now going for the bachelor? I now asked him. He said, sir, you know what? It's not me. Some guy just came, let's just do bachelor's eve. And I said, they will plan it for you now. So we'll just come, we'll talk, we'll do this. He said, no, actually, we are going to one party. I said, where? He said, one party. What did they do there? He said, they said they may bring strippers, so if they come, I'm not interested though. I said, so he said, but I'm just giving it to them that day. Then it dawned on me that there are so many that, so a very simple, you know, you know, so just one mistake. I don't want to even call it a mistake, because it's something you deliberately open your eyes to enter. But what I'm going to is that, see, Satan does not need two opportunity for him to strike. Just one opportunity is too big of a time for him to do what he wants to do. Yeah. And it comes with the mentality